Welcome inside another exciting show right here on the CTS network. I am your host and moderator, Stephen Ray, aka the SEC Superfan Stingray, and I hope everybody is doing well today because this show is going to be off the walls. Let me go on ahead and pull up one of my co-hosts, Joey Lozada, who is the founder of this channel. Joey, how are you doing today, sir?
Obviously, you don't pick up your phone. Sting, I don't ever remember you having like permission to bring people onto the CTS without my say or anybody else's say, but I heard that you talked to the other guys. They were all for it. You didn't talk to me, and then you went ahead and brought Clemson Tom onto the CTS. And quite frankly, I saw that video, that cute little video that Clemson Tom made. It wasn't funny. I didn't think it was cute. However, the deal's done. Clemson Tom is part of the CTS. We're going to have to live with that. But quite frankly, I just got one question for you, Sting. Who the hell do you think you are?
Whoa, that's Stingray. Put some respect on his name.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Hey, there's 3 people on this thing, and only one of them has been on, 2 of them been on national TV. and Stingray got the most love, being on Taj.
Yes, let me go on ahead and pull up the other guy here, and if everybody does not know him, they will very soon, because this guy says what is ever on his mind, and he does not and will not be offended if you don't like what he says. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the guy who spits on choo-choo trains, Clemson Tom. Tom, how are you doing today, sir? And welcome again to the CTS.
I appreciate it. I never spit on the Gamecocks train. Getting that out there one more time.
Swallows.
What are y'all's thoughts about King James not being in the finals this year?
I'm actually okay with it. I don't like LeBron. He'll go down as one of the best players to ever play the game, but I'm not a LeBronie. I think he's good. Obviously, I don't care if he's not in it. Some of the stuff he does off the court, I think, is great. Some of the other stuff that he does off the court, I feel is forced, fake. He only does it to appear to do something. He's all about social justice, which I am as well. They ask him about the Nike stuff, and then they're forcing the 12-year-old kids to slave away for 24 hours doing the Nike stuff. He doesn't talk about it. So you can't be on one side of the fence and the other, just like his flopping. It's horrible. I watched Space Jam 2 Friday night with my son. That's 2 hours of my life I can never get back. The acting was atrocious. So, it was bad, man. It was like his flops. It was everything else. But I think LeBron's a good person. Yes, I think LeBron's a good person. But I think someone's in his ear to shadow a certain character of him. Yes. Do I think he's the greatest basketball player to ever live? No. But he's not in the finals. I'm not losing sleep over it. I really don't care.
I think I've been, first off, I see that we're doing the same format we did during the first time we had Clemson Tom on. That's fine with me. You know what? I made my feelings pretty well known on the CTS many times. And you speak about LeBron James is I don't ever make it. I make it very clear. LeBron James is I don't like LeBron James. I don't care about LeBron James. I'm not putting money into LeBron James. You go back to 2011, with the ESPN decision. I thought that was a move to leave Cleveland. He comes back to Cleveland. He should have stayed in Cleveland. Cleveland, lost a lot of money when LeBron James left to go to Miami and LA. And when one city depends on you that much, and then you just get up and leave, then you talk about the social justice stuff and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I think it is forced. I think, I know, you know, the last 4 years, you saw the stuff with political. We're not going to get into the politics or anything. However, to be famous, you had to say something negative about the president of the United States. It was just, it's mandatory. It is what it is. But, you know, the flopping, the crying, you know, who blows the finals to pass the ball just to get traded to another team or sign with another team and show the team that's bad? You try to win the championships. Even in professional wrestling, they try to win championships. And LeBron James went out there and just ruined Cleveland's chances to win a championship. You know what? LeBron James, I would not watch Space Jam 2 because it probably is awful. Anything that LeBron James does is not good. It has never been good. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Scottie Pippen, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas. Hell, you won't even put Christian Laettner. I will put money into Christian Laettner before I'll put money into LeBron James. With that said, I didn't lose no sleep watching the Bucks win the NBA championship.
Awesome, man. Well, let's move on to another hot topic right now in sports, and that was the decision by the University of Texas and the Big 12 at Big 12 Media Days to make their decision that if any player from an opposing team does the horns down to them, to a Texas player on the field, that will automatically be a penalty against the other team. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Because I personally think that is a move by Texas.
Jesus, Ray. Stingray coming in hot.
Calm down. Look, I think we're rubbing off on you.
Man, I'm kind of torn because it's soft, but at the same time, let's say an Alabama player gave the Gator chomp to a Gator. I mean, isn't that a flag already? That's been going on for years. If a Gator or even a Clemson player, you know, intercepted a pass for Florida State and like went, you know, in the face of a Seminole, that's going to be a flag. So I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, if they're running off the field, you know, think about it. Third and long, interception, pick it up. You're running to the sideline with your teammates, and you're doing the horns down. I don't think that should be a flag. Just like if an Alabama player intercepts the ball from a Gator and starts running to their sideline with their teammates, that's not a penalty. Just like when they celebrate together as a team for a touchdown, that's not a penalty. So I'm okay with that. But doing it into their face, I mean, that just goes across the board with every team.
Right.
Well, Sting, I'm scared of you, dog.
Sting came in hot, man.
Man, he can't. You getting gangster. All of a sudden, Clemson Tom's on the show. Now everything is.
That's right, buddy.
Stingray's going to be hanging out with Snoop Dogg pretty soon.
Yep.
You know, did LeBron James come up with that decision? Because honestly, it is a move. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't got nothing against Texas, but the problem is just, you know, stop. Just let's go out and have some fun. You know, don't be all crazy and stupid and crap like that. Just it's not like they, you know, it's not like they're Auburn.
What?
Whoa. What is this? What is this? What is this?
This is Clemson Xander. Tell him who you are.
I'm Clemson Xander, bro. I'm a gopher.
Hey, are you sign up? Did we sign him to the CTS too?
The package deal. Deal with it.
Stingray, you're in so much trouble. You got to talk to me about these deals. Wow.
All right, buddy.
Anyway, go on, Sting.
All right, let me start this over because that was a little bit confusing for everybody. Right now, as we sit here, under 50 days from the start of college football, what do you guys think is the best week one matchup? And I'm going to read a couple of the big marquee games off of my cell phone. First off, we have Alabama versus Miami and the U. All right, the next one is going to be Georgia versus Clemson. LSU versus UCLA, Notre Dame and Florida State, and lastly, Ole Miss takes on Louisville on Monday night of that weekend. Which one of your those games would you say is the best game right now?
I really think Florida State is one of those teams that has a lot of upside, and I really want to see if they're really going to do something this year. Notre Dame is also going to be in the top 10. I really do believe now that they're back to being independent, they're going to run that. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. I think they're going to have an easy schedule like they usually do. I think they're going to be in championship contenders. So Florida State and Notre Dame is kind of intriguing. You know what? If I had to pick an upset, because week 1 will always have upsets.
Mm-hmm.
I said it here first. I think it will be Florida State beating Notre Dame.
Tom?
All upsets are crazy, dog.
Florida State's offensive line is trash. It's Swiss cheese. You and I could play for them right now. We could walk on the field right now for Ohio State. For Florida State and start. It's horrific. No, it's easily the game.
But they beat Duke and Jacksonville State, Tom. You know how hard it is to beat Jacksonville State Gamecocks up in
baseball,
Anniston, Alabama, and the Duke Blue Devils and the North Carolina Tar Heels. I mean, come on, Tom.
You don't even. There's no way you believe that, because even when you're slurring your speech, you can't even say it properly coming out of your mouth.
I don't believe it, but I do. Honestly, I will pick. If I had to pick an upset, I would pick Jacksonville State. I mean, not Jacksonville. Yeah, I'll pick Jacksonville State. I'll pick Florida State to beat Notre Dame. I think that would be the upset of the season 1.
No, that's not even.
I think the offensive line probably got a little better.
A little better at what? Allowing everyone to get past them?
Eating.
Yeah, maybe eating. You need to do something. They can't even stop a nosebleed. It's clearly
last year. It's last year. 2020 really doesn't count, except for the Alabama winning the national championship. Other than that, what happened last year really doesn't count.
It is, I mean, if that's what you believe in your heart, then fine. But everyone knows it's clearly going to be Clemson versus Georgia. It's 2 key matchups. It's in Charlotte. Game day's already said they're going to be there. I mean, it is what it is. That's clearly going to be the matchup. I mean, either team could win that game. And I'm sitting here right now saying that, yeah, man, I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. And I think it's going to be a matchup. I think this is going to be one of the games we're going to be talking about all season. Thankfully, it's week 1, so whoever has the L can work their way back all year long and hopefully get into the playoffs. But if Georgia loses this game, I mean, they have more to lose than Clemson does, put it that way.
You know why I didn't pick Georgia and Clemson?
Because you knew I was?
Yeah. I had to pick a game. No, that was the only game that it was worth looking at. I was like, Ole Miss and the Raging Cajuns, and I was like, I don't want to see this. I'm going Florida State and Notre Dame.
I'm like, just saying it to say it. At least you said it was.
Hey, you know what? You know what? Hey, I really do believe Florida. I really do. It would be funny if Florida State does upset Notre Dame. And I actually said it here first.
Let's ask the internets. What's the betting line for Florida State football versus Notre Dame? She didn't even want to say it. She's not even giving me the betting line. She's like, this game is trash. Here it is. Notre Dame is -9.5. I mean,
-9.5. Really?
Yeah, -9.5.
I'll probably take those 9 points. 10 points. I mean, I'll take those 10 points.
Listen, you're doubling down on what you said, and I get it. But I'll take
the 10 points.
10 points on Notre Dame.
9.5 is 10 points. They're giving Florida State 10 points. You don't know how the betting line works?
Oh, if you only knew my betting background, you would probably call me.
Well, I mean, I'm asking the question. I didn't.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know how it works.
Okay, so I will take those 10 points and bet Florida State.
What would you say? Clemson?
And y'all should bet right now.
Clemson's -4.
Huh?
Clemson's -4.
Well, they're playing Georgia, SEC team.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll take SEC over ACC any day of the week.
Except for when it's Clemson. We're the SEC killers.
My best game of that weekend, I personally believe, is going to be LSU traveling across country to go out to California to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA, because it is crunch time for Chip Kelly out there in Pasadena, and it's going to be a good measuring stick for how far LSU has come after the disastrous season that they had last year, in which they could not stop anybody on defense. They are bringing back a lot of players. They're bringing back Max Johnson. They're bringing back another quarterback. Oh, and remember, they had to replace Bo Pelini, who was fired at the end of last year. My TV will be tuned in to LSU at UCLA to see which team actually wins that game and actually tries to separate themselves. Because let me tell you something, the Pac-12, I honestly believe, is wide open right now, just simply because UCLA was playing a lot better towards the end of last year. They've just got to do one thing, and that's limit the turnovers, and Chip Kelly can have that program rolling out there in Pasadena, because USC, on the other hand, their coach is on the hot seat, and he may get fired this year.
I'm pretty sure Clemson Tom is going to be watching man's butt during that game. But that's just my take.
Do you have stock in Haynes? You tell me like Michael Jordan, you were Haynes your way?
Look, you like the booty warrior from the Boondocks. I like you and I want you. Now you can do it as the easy way or you can do it the hard way. Because I'm looking for man's butt. Butt hurt. That's you. That's all you, Clemson. Tom.
Let's skip all this nonsense. Go let Joseph change shirts so he can actually look presentable. And let's get on to the guests. Joseph, you should probably change shirts. It'd be funny for the show. Right, for real, go change the shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our first edition of 3rd and 3, bringing back two of our, I would say, close friends to the CTS. One gave us our first 1,000 views on our YouTube page. He's a motivational speaker, former player for the University of Indiana, and he's a good friend to the CTS. Ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Harper. Shawn, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Doing great.
And our second guest is another friend of CTS. We hooked up a while back. He actually was interviewed by Stingray for the Sunday interview. I think it was the Stingray Scoop, actually.
Yeah.
So this gentleman right here is a very good friend to the CTS, man. I love this guy to death, man. He's a good trainer if you're in the Orlando area. Ladies and gentlemen, Earnest Allen. Earnest, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, the opportunity is with us, man. When we get two good people to come on the show, it's always a pleasure. So I'm going to start with you, Shawn. Let's talk about a little stuff that we talked about in the first interview, the Indiana University. How important this season is to you to show what Indiana can do?
You know what? It's actually extremely, extremely important because momentum has been created. And the momentum, in my opinion, is in its infancy, although it was brewing for some years underground. But now that I see the sprout, I need that ground to be watered. I need to be fertilized, and I need that bad boy to grow. I think there's a couple teams that are in the Big Ten and in the surrounding area that are showing weakness. And now it's time for Indiana to establish itself as a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten Conference.
Now, with your motivational speaking career, are you going to be able to watch a lot of football this season? Because every time I see you on Facebook, you're always on the road.
You know what? Listen, that's a very good question. There are times when I'm doing speeches and I'm finished and people are like, oh, I need an autograph. I'm like, you know what? It's 8 o'clock. It's 8:05. It's kickoff time. I should be in my room right now. But you know what? The job of investing and pouring into people comes first. And so I can always watch the replay, wait, see it 2 days later on YouTube. So I'll be all right. Game's a game.
So Ernest, same question for you. You're a personal trainer. You got your own business.
Yeah.
You got a very popular podcast, Game Ready, that I listen to every day. If you're not listening to Game Ready, I don't know what you're doing. We had Stingray on there. We had Marvin Constant on there. You are a very busy man yourself. What games are you looking forward to? And do you see Cincinnati University doing anything this year?
Oh yeah. It's around the same level as most emerging programs, and I think we have a great foundation. The coaching staff that they have there now is solid, and University of Cincinnati used to be known as the revolving door of coaches, and the head coach that they have there now, he's doing a great job, and the guys love him. And I think they're going to be in the hunt. One of the games I'm looking forward to, like everybody knows, if you live in Orlando, if you live in Cincinnati, is UCF in Cincinnati. That's going to be the top. That's going to be the big game of the year.
So a little bit. Pardon me. I'm kind of torn between Shawn and Earnest because the motivational speaking. I feel in my early YouTube days, I did some motivational speaking for Clemson on that, and then Earnest. I'm over here. My athletic days are gone, and you're sitting here in Orlando. So I gotta ask you from a dad standpoint. You saw my son was on here a second ago. Actually, technically for both of you, because I'm his caddy and I know absolutely nothing about golf.
Oh wow!
However, during COVID, that was the only sport we could do.
Oh yeah,
and he picked it up and he's doing decent.
That's excellent.
So, Shawn, your question: when he gets, because he knows he can do well. So it depends on what kid shows up to the tournament that day. When he does bad, he gets down on himself because he wants to do well. So I try to bring him out of that, the shoulders down, being down on himself. And at the same time, Earnest, there are kids his age that are hitting the ball off the tee 200 yards. Mm-hmm. And if he hits it good, he's doing 120. So I don't know if I don't need to touch him muscle-wise. Mm-hmm. Is there any workout I can do?
No.
8-year-old a little stronger? And then how do I motivate him at the same time?
I'll let Shawn, go in the motivational part, and I'll take over from the physical part.
Yeah. So with that, you have to understand that you are daddy. Mm-hmm. Daddy has a unique ability to speak right into a kid's soul, right into a son's soul, speak right into the soul. Great athletes, they have a number of coaches. And you have to realize that your strength is in a particular area. Actually, it's the most important area. It's the area that I call the inside game. The inside game is the game that's played between the ears. Okay. The inside game is how does your son deal with adversity? How does your son deal with winning? How does your son deal with or handle not wanting to practice? How does your son make adjustments, and does he have the mental capacity for the game? So the inside game is to develop that, to push that, to antagonize that, take it to the next level. Now, the most awesome thing about that is that you can now bring on or, build a team of other individuals to, help encourage swing technique, practice, best practices and all that, all that good stuff. But you got the most important job until he is actually away from you and beyond. That's the inside game. The best athletes, that's the game that they build day in and day out. They build the inside game. So I'll let Coach answer the other part, but never negate your role because it's so important.
Hey, I mean, he hit it on the head. As far as the physical part, I would leave him alone, because the main objective is to expose him to a diverse sports experience, so he becomes a better athlete and he's well-rounded. So if it's fun for him now, keep it fun. And I will follow through with exactly what Mr. Harper said as far as keeping your role in keeping him mentally in tune with everything that's going on around him. So he stays at a level that he's just level. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, and he understands how to accept a win and how to handle a loss. Mm-hmm. But as far as the physical part, I know at that age, it's about having fun and exposing him to so many different diverse sports experiences. So as he gets older, he's able to enjoy it. And then when he's around, I say around the age like 14 to 15, that's when they start to really separate and start to specialize into one sport for the most part. That's Some kids do stay in double, like, they do several sports. At the most, at that age, they may do 2 sports, but you keep it simple.
Yeah. Should we still do push-ups every day?
Oh yeah. Oh, the physical, the basic relative strength work. Yeah. Oh yeah, the relative strength work. Yeah, that's of course. But
I got like 2 pound and 3 pound dumbbells, and we just do. I try to do 100 a day with them.
Hey, a little something. Make sure it's form and technique. And when I work with kids under the age of 10 years old, the main objective is I try to make sure that their relative strength is on point as far as being able to do a push-up, a body weight squat, and a lunge, and pretty much that's it. And then we move on from there, and then you do some core work. I add a little fun, where they slam a slam ball and a little bit more of a physical aspect to it. But I keep it really simple with kids under the age of 10.
Yeah, that's what I try to do now. That's why, so I don't give him heavy, so he's not leaning or throwing it back. Just trying to do. It's more repetition.
Yeah, it's all repetition, and you keep it fun and you keep it simple.
Cool. Thanks, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joey, let me just go on ahead and say that we got a slam dunk on the guests today, and here is why. Guys, I want both of y'all's opinion on this. I just saw this. Saturday, September the 18th, Cincinnati at Indiana. Give us your thoughts, both of you, please.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, Shawn.
Okay.
Great one.
Oh, here. Okay. This is how. Okay. So normally I would, I'm all Hoosiers. Okay. Definitely. I just, but here's the thing that is working, that can potentially work against the Hoosiers. Fickle comes from Ohio State, and Fickle comes from the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Big Ten might not be the most talented, but they're physical.
Yes,
the Big Ten is a very fit. You got linebackers at 250, and they can run, and they will hit. And linemen, running backs, between the tackles, everyone knows we run downhill, and you ask any team that plays a Big Ten team in bowl season that you might win, but you felt it. You felt every bit of it. Indiana has a solid run game, and if Cincinnati's not able to control between the tackles and that line of scrimmage, they're going to lose. And Cincinnati's very talented, and if they get a lead, it's going to be a long night for the Hoosiers.
Yeah. Well, from the perspective that I come from, my first game my senior year was against Indiana, and at Cincinnati, and Indiana put a number on us. So Indiana's up 1-0.
That's even worse. That's even worse. Man.
and I guarantee you, there's one. I think there's one guy that's still on the staff that remembers that loss, and that loss was on national TV. It was like one of the first games of college football on ESPN.
Who is he?
Yeah, he's the quality control guy.
Okay.
His name is Dave Winnicam. Wid knows. He knows what happened. He knows how it happened. We were not ready to play, and Indiana took it to us. Every time we played a Big Ten teams, since we're in the Midwest, we took it really serious. And I love playing against Big Ten teams because they would just let us play. You know, it was a open game for the most part. Very few flags, and it was physical, which I love playing against physical teams. The speed of Indiana, which they're known for now, is going to be maybe an issue for Cincinnati. But Coach Fickle, they have a great plan in place, and the way that they have brought the physical aspect from the Big Ten to Cincinnati, it is shown. It's produced some pretty good games and pretty good athletes. So I'm rooting for Cincinnati, but it's going to be a great game.
Well, I have another question there for Shawn. You know, obviously, with a lot of the programs coming open this year, like Auburn came open, and Texas and Tennessee, are you worried eventually about Tom Allen leaving Indiana for greener grasses?
It can happen. It can happen. Yeah. I mean, that is a legit concern.
Right.
When you have a program that's at the apex of their division, the opportunities are there. It can happen. Just like, honestly, a team can come in and they can scalp Coach Fickle.
Right.
It's like, it's like, yeah. That is a legitimate fear. Fear. I didn't say concern. Fear.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if I can bounce off of that question, because that Cincinnati solidified in the offseason that Coach Fickle is not leaving. They signed him to an extension, and they made him extremely comfortable. He's one of the highest paid coaches in the conference, and I think they plan on keeping him around for a long time because there's really no other place that they can go as far as to get a coach of his caliber, and they had to make a major investment to keep him. I just hope that, if they do run the tables of the conference and they do end up, going into the expanded playoff, it could be a issue where Coach Fickle he could leave. But I hope he doesn't. But it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And I've got one more question for Shawn. You obviously, don't you live in Columbus, Ohio, where Ohio State is?
Yes, I do.
What are you hearing from Ohio State fans for this year when they don't actually have a quarterback that's taken a snap under center? Are they a little worried about the 2021 season up there for the Buckeyes?
No.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they can overcompensate in some key areas. Number one, they have some amazing receivers. I mean, Hartline has done an amazing job. Coach Hartline, he has some amazing receivers. Number one, to just get open. That's there. Number two, their line is pretty solid. Number three, they have some decent running backs. And so the way, and it's I'm not really concerned, and I don't think the fans are. The only caveat in that is I believe Oregon is coming up. I think that's like the second game. My old roommate actually is Mario Cristobal.
Wow.
We played together in NFL Europe for Amsterdam. And so that right there can throw a wrench in there. The saving grace of that, though, is that Ohio State probably has one of the most vicious, and no one's talking about it. Ohio State probably has one of the most vicious defensive lines in the country right now. They have some dogs. They got some dogs coming in there next year. And I tell you, that honestly is the first. If you really want to win a championship, that's the first thing you recruit is your D line, defensive end to defensive end. Because A, you put pressure on the quarterback. B, you can stop the run. You can almost control the game from that perspective. And that defensive line that's coming back will stifle a lot of people and slow the game down, which is important. Slow the game down for a young quarterback.
And my last question for you, Coach, is if you had to say right now, what do you think the final win total for Cincinnati is going to be? Do you think it's going to be 10-2, 11-1, or 12-0?
Right now, I would say 10-2, but 11-1 is a really, really strong possibility. If they stay healthy like anybody else, they have a really good chance. Coach Fickle, I watch some of the videos that they do and the things that they do to keep the kids, conditioned well, and they have a lot of fun and they do a lot of team building. So I think they got a legitimate shot to go 11-1.
Yeah, they're going to shock some people because, as you said earlier, they are playing physical.
Yes, and
to be able to, like, I remember when there was a particular coach, I'm not going to mention names, right? And this coach came to the Big Ten conference and he threw out all the steel weights and he brought in like hammer strength and we were like, and those receivers, it looked like a mass unit, like the third or fourth game. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. So he's actually bringing that in, and he knows how to bring people to not only work together, but to work as one. And when you have an environment where people work as one, you're practically unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
It's always an honor to have Shawn Harper and Earnest Allen back on the CTS. You two guys, you're a family here. Yeah, anytime y'all want to come back on, please do so. And I'm looking forward to the next episode of Earnest's podcast. Speaking of the podcast, Earnest, tell everybody where we can hear that wonderful podcast.
Oh, you can hear it on Spotify, iTunes. I'm on like 6 platforms right now. My next podcast is going to feature one of my old teammates. He went to the University of Oklahoma, and we played in the AFL together. And we're going to talk about his journey where he lost over 200 pounds over a 2-year period. And his whole focus right now is just to maintain it. And he's done a really good job. It's going to be a great episode. I'm excited, for people to hear.
Let me ask you a question. Are you in the Cincinnati area, or are you in the?
I'm in Orlando.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I have family in Columbus, though.
Really?
Yes, I have family in Columbus, and I come up there every once in a while. But Florida's been home for like 20 years.
Okay. Because I'm always driving through the Cincinnati area. My Sands, my fraternity brother, Ozzie Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, he's down there, and I'm always in the Cincinnati area. So listen, if you ever get up this way, it's fine. And you get to Cincinnati, we can go to what's the Eagle.
Oh yeah,
we can go to
Okay.
we can slam it. Yeah.
But look at this. We're forming friendships here at the CTS.
Yeah.
Shawn, before we start a love connection here, tell everybody what you're doing on the road. Tell everybody what you're doing, how you motivating people. Sell it hard.
Yeah, I am. If life is a game, you play to win. And what I've seen in my journey is that once I retired from playing professional football and I entered into the corporate world, almost 95% of all the, NFL training, NFL PA training is teaching you how to adjust or to assimilate to corporate. And after a while of doing that, owning my own business, I had that epiphany moment. I'm like, wait a second, I am a professional athlete. I am the la creme de la creme. Very few people are able to compete and to maintain excellence and motivation and professionalism at this level for any amount of time. What if I take what I've learned playing football and emerge it into corporate? Instead of me trying to merge into corporate, I'm going to move into corporate with my football attributes, my football prowess, my football mindset, which is most important. And I begin to excel, and I begin to make adjustments from football invading corporate America. And it has helped me out. It has helped me out tremendously. Let me give you an example real quick. Playing sports, a game week, I cannot tell you how many hours we spend studying the competition. Now, an NFL team has an entire scouting department in the basement somewhere. These guys, they don't come up for nothing, right? And they will pick up. College they live at the stadium and they break down film. That's all they do. So now I'm taking that mindset into corporate America. Yes, I know everything about my competition. I know what their price point is. I know what their methodology is. I know what their target market is. I could probably run their organization. Why? Because that better positions me for the win. So I take things like that people don't normally do to actually, think, and I bring it over into corporate America. And I've had tremendous success.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Since you told me all that, me and you need to talk because CTS needs to start making some money. Because Clemson Tom is Clemson Tom and Stingray are very expensive, and they're not. This pennies of the dollar crap is not gonna last forever. So you can definitely gonna be in contact with each other. With that said, I want to thank Earnest. I want to thank Shawn. Shawn, you know how much love I got for you. Earnest, man, you're my buddy, and I got love for you too. Anytime y'all want to come back on the CTS, y'all always welcome.
All right, guys, be blessed.
Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
It was announced that the SEC might actually think about, because both Texas and Oklahoma approached the SEC about joining the conference. What are your guys' thoughts on the Longhorns and the Sooners probably going to join the SEC?
I'm gonna take this one because I don't like it. It's basically what it's going to be like, super conferences. And when you look at where they're located, it's a lot like barbecue. You can't mix your pulled pork and your brisket. You can't put it together and make it a sandwich and make it a meal. You either get your pulled pork or you get your brisket. Brisket, and the two teams I'm going to talk about need to stay in the West. The pulled pork aspect needs to stay in the right. Texas, Oklahoma, it's your medium bottom tier teams in the horrible conference of the Big 12. You're going to get killed in the SEC. Go somewhere else, redo it. I know it's all about money, but it's just like barbecue. You cannot mix brisket and pulled pork and put it together and make it a meal.
Yes.
So it don't make sense.
Well, here's my take on it. I like the Oklahoma ad, but leave Texas alone. Leave Texas out there because they've already destroyed two damn conferences. They don't need to destroy the SEC. They destroyed the Southwest Conference, and then, of course, Arkansas joined the SEC, and then they destroyed what is now the Big 12 because they allowed Colorado to leave, Nebraska to leave, and then A&M and Missouri coming to the SEC. Hell no, I don't want Texas in the SEC. To hell with them.
They're the coronavirus of the Big 12.
That's right. Here's this. Choke on that.
Well, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Clemson Tom, I'm gonna say this very humbly. I'm happy to have you on the CTS. Son tells me we're going to have a lot of disagreements, but you know what? It was fun talking to you. Stingray, you know, I got nothing but love for you. So with that said, for the first time ever, this is the end of 3rd and 3. Guys, how'd y'all like it?
I love it. And I also like the fact that you didn't mention any of his beard today, but you got to come up with more jokes, my friend.
It comes and it goes. I'm more
anyway. You can kiss my ass on the. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it was Clemson Tom. It's the internet sensation Stingray, 2 of the best in college football, and we're out, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.
Joey, I got one more thing I want to say. What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when 3rd and 3 runs wild all over you?
With that note, I wish you. Whatever. We're closing. All right.